Hello, hello. All right, today we are going to be making a homemade racket based upon whatever equipment that you have around your house, hopefully. So one thing that you need is the racket itself that you're going to make. So I have a pool noodle here. That's what I'm going to be using for my racket. You can get it at the dollar store for $1. Or if you have a wire hanger, then you can use that. I apparently do not have any wire hangers in my house. I guess I need to go to the dry cleaners. But I will show you how to do it with a plastic one. But it needs to be a wire one in order to do it. So either a wire hanger or a noodle is going to be the frame of your racket. And then in order to cover your racket, the best thing to use is an old pair of stockings. So if you have stockings around that you can use, that would be best. If you don't have stockings, you can get them at the dollar store as well. Or if you have some sort of mesh bag from like clementines or something like this that you can use to stretch to make your racket netting, that would be great. And if you don't have either of these and you don't feel like running out, then you can use a plastic bag to make the head of the racket. It's not the best, it's not going to last the longest, but at least it's something, and it's at least fun to make as well, okay? The other thing that you're going to need is some sort of tape. So I have some duct tape, or you can have some painter's tape, or black electrical tape. You can have masking tape, that's fine. And then I made a ball just out of aluminum foil. Or you can make a ball from scrap piece of paper, crumble that up, and that can be your ball for your racket. So we're going to get started with making the frame of the racket. So for those of you that have a wire hanger, first thing you're going to do is fold the hook down nice and flat, because this is actually going to be the handle for your racket. So you're going to fold this down nice and flat. What sometimes I like to do is maybe put some cushion around there. It could be a sock around it, just to make sure no one gets hurt from the edge of the wire. And then you're going to tape it. So this is going to be the actual handle that your child or adult is going to hold on to. So you're going to squeeze that down, make it nice and flat, and then wrap some tape around the end of it. The other thing you're going to do with your wire hanger is that you're going to stretch this out to try to make it into the circle for your racket. So you can keep it kind of like this and make it into a diamond shape, but you could also bend the wire and make it into a perfect oval or circle for your racket head. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a noodle to go ahead and make our lovely racket. So one thing that I'm going to do is, because this is very thick down at the bottom, is I'm going to trim half of the noodle so that I can put the other halves together and wrap that, and that's going to be my handle for the racket. So I'm just going to take my scissors, and some of you might need to get some help from an adult or from a parent to help you with this. And I'm going to just cut half of the noodle, about 5 inches or so, up to the top, so that I could put these sides together so it makes a much thinner handle to be able to grasp the racket. So cut both of those sides off, and then I'm going to trim it. Off, so then I'm going to combine that with this side here. So again, cutting in half. My noodle has a hole in it, so it makes it a little bit easier. Some noodles do, some don't. So just be careful whenever using scissors. Watch your fingers. Then I'm going to trim this up and off. And again, if you're making both, you can use the leftover of your noodle here, put them together, and you can actually use this to wrap around your wire as the handle. So you can make 2 rackets and have that going for you. So now I'm going to put these 2 together and tape them so I have a really nice thin handle that I can go ahead and wrap my hand around to be able to use for my hand to be able to use the racket. And I'm just going to trim a little bit of this. Make my handle a little bit longer so it fits in with this one. Okay. I'm going to decide to use my duct tape to put these together. So I'm putting the 2 ends together and going to tape them. So now instead of a very thick handle, now you have a much thinner handle that you can hold on to. Wrap it nice and tight. Again, you can use any type of tape that you have. Duct tape's really strong and durable, so I like to use that a lot of times when I'm making equipment. All the way up and around. I like to go a little bit higher just to get one more, really keep that racket nice and taut. Perfect. And again, if you're using a wire hanger, you're going to do the same similar parts. Okay. So, looking more like a racket now, and a much thinner handle to be able to grasp it. And I like to just press down the top so I really get a nice circle instead of an oval. All right, now what we're going to do, again, depending on what you have, stocking is the best to make the racket. If you don't have the stocking, you can use that mesh bag, or you can use a trash bag to go ahead and make the racket head. The most important thing with whatever you're using is you want to try to make it as tight as possible. So you might need to get some help from an adult to really be able to make it tight, and then tape this up on the back side to make sure that you have one face of the racket that is tight so that a ball can bounce off of it. Okay, so this is what you would do with a trash bag. Just wrap it up, tape it around really tight. But I'm going to show you the best case scenario, which is stockings. So I'm going to take the top of the stocking. I'm going to put this on. Now you can use just the top of the stocking and not use the legs. I think it's better the tighter the fabric is, the more the racket works. So I'm actually going to pull through on one of the legs of the stocking and get a much tighter racket. All the way down. Okay. So now you can see much tighter up there. Now the excess, I'm going to go ahead and trim that and tie it in a knot. So just take that off. Nice thing is I have this left over. I can make another racket with it. And then I'm just going to pull the top here and tie this in a knot so it stays secured on my racket. Good. And then I have down here as well, I'm going to cut this and then tape it to the bottom. Just be careful when you start cutting You don't want to lose your stocking off of your racket. So I usually just hold one end of it as I'm doing the cutting around. And again, if you don't have any stockings at home, you can buy it at Walmart, Target. I got this at the dollar store for $1. The larger size stockings work a little bit easier than smaller sizes, so I usually try to buy a larger size because then you can fit the leg down for your racket. All right, so I got that trimmed. So again, I'm going to pull this down and put another piece of tape on it so that it stays nice and secured on there. So I'll take my duct tape. Just need a piece of tape to go around. And hold down the stocking, go ahead and attach that. So as I go around, I'm pulling the stocking back down so I get it with my tape and make it even a bit tighter. There we go. All right. Now the stocking is secured, tied off the top, got the bottom, and now I could take either my paper ball or a foil ball. I'm going to use my paper ball, and maybe you want to decorate it a little bit, so take some of my electrical tape I have here, cut 2 strips. There's one more strip here, there's 2. I'm going to wrap it around my trash ball. It's one piece that way. I'm going to take my other piece. You don't have to tape it. I enjoy it because it holds the paper ball a little bit tighter. Plus it gives it a little bit more visual appealing to it. All right. Good. All right. So now you can see I have my ball, got my racket, and now I'm ready to play. All right. So this is how you can make a at-home racket to be able to utilize, have some fun with. And again, it works really, really well. All right, so have fun. Make your pool noodle racket, or go ahead and make your racket with a wire hanger. Can't wait to see all of your rackets. Thank you.